Hello, my name is Cooper Duke with Environmental Health and Safety here at Oklahoma State University, and today we're going to be talking about eye protection. Here are the objectives of today's training. We're going to identify some of the relative OSHA standards and how they apply to eye protection, discuss some of the hazards related to eyes, what types of eye protection you need, and then what do we do whenever we have an eye injury? How do we deal with that? We're going to talk about that today. So taking a look at OSHA standards, the primary eye and face protection standard is going to be 29 CFR 1910.133, and that's going to be for your general industry. For construction industry, that's going to be in 29 CFR 1926.102. An eye and face protection is required in all other standards as well, such as lab safety, welding, and electrical, and then arc flash protection. So why should we be concerned? Obviously on the pictures to your left, they're kind of gruesome. We want to protect our eyes. We don't want to have any of these injuries. And what we can do to protect our eyes is just wear eye protection. As you can see, eye injuries of all types occur at a rate of about 2,000 a day. And 3 out of 5 people who receive sustainable eye injuries were not even wearing eye protection. So most of the time, eye injuries are related to not wearing eye protection. So what are some of the causes of these eye injuries? Flying objects is going to be, the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that about 70% of eye injuries are caused by flying debris or falling objects. Another common eye injury is going to be a contact with chemicals. We want to make sure that we're wearing something over our eyes to keep chemicals from touching our eyes, keep those eye injuries from occurring. And then the last one down there, another common one, is just misuse of tools. And that can include things like not having proper guards on your equipment, which can introduce flying objects, just poor maintenance on your tools, something breaks off and flies up into your eye, and then just poor safety habits. Of course, a good safety habit here is just wear your eye protection. Always use the appropriate eyewear for the job. If you're welding, you're not going to be wearing safety glasses. You're going to be wearing the welding helmet down there in the center that you see. Everything's got appropriate eyewear for the job. As you can see in the top left, those are safety goggles. Those are going to be typically used in a laboratory environment or when you're working with chemicals, just to keep those chemicals from splashing onto your eyes. So what are the different kinds of eye protection? Well, there's plastic safety glasses, polycarbonate, there's shielded safety glasses, goggles, safety goggles, and then full face shields. Some of those can be worn just one, or you could combine them. You could have safety glasses and a face shield over top to give you double protection. There's different uses for all these different things. So starting with plastic and polycarbonate, these are what you're typically going to see out there. If you refer to eye protection, you're going to think of, oh, safety glasses, the clear plastic. This is going to be one of the more commons. Lightweight, they're going to protect against welding splatter, and they're less likely to fog up. And they're not very scratch resistant. Safety glasses should be shielded. So what does that mean? Shielding provides a better protection from flying debris and chemicals that may be suspended in the air. Shielding are going to be the side protection. If you're wearing just eyeglasses, it's going to have something in front of your eyes, but what makes safety glasses different is it also wraps around and protects the side of your eyes, just getting that full coverage to make sure your eyes are protected. And as you can see here, side protection should be used when there is a hazard present from flying objects. Some of these side protectors are detachable. There are clip-on, slide-on shields, and those are okay as long as they're meeting the requirements of 1910.133. Goggles. So, like I said earlier, these are going to be used more commonly when you're working with chemicals, maybe in a laboratory setting, because these are going to provide greater protection from splashes, liquids, and dusts, a lot better than just safety glasses, because it's going to give you that seal that fits tightly around your face, which is going to be a barrier that protects you from those chemicals or splashes or dusts. Yeah, and like it says here, just they provide the best protection against liquid, pesticides, and other toxic chemicals. This is an example of somebody who had been wearing safety goggles. As you can kind of see, the injury to their face is going to be right around those goggles. So their eyes are protected when they were wearing the goggles, but unfortunately their face got some chemical burns. At least they did protect their eyes in the process. Looking at face shields, these are going to be used where you have very high chance of exposure to an airborne substance. And then, like I was talking about earlier, face shield's not enough to protect your eyes by itself. It should be worn with safety glasses. So you're going to double down on that protection to make sure you're protected. And face shields are considered a secondary eye protection. They're considered secondary because you got to have safety glasses with them. After using a face shield, one thing to keep in mind is these need to be thoroughly disinfected before storing it away. You make sure to clean all components before you put that back in the storage locker or wherever you're putting this face shield at. Just make sure it's nice and clean and disinfected before storing it away. Here's some other tips just to protect your eyes. Wearing goggles or a face shield and eye protection around flying chips or particles, electrical arcing, sparks, chemical gases or vapors, harmful light liquids, light liquid chemicals, acids, caustics, molten metal, dust, swinging objects like rope or chains. It's just a good idea to wear those. And when you're opening a container, it's always a good idea to turn the nozzle of the container just away from your face. You don't want it pointed directly at you, just in the case that you open that container and whatever is in the container, you don't want it to come out of the container towards you. So it's a good idea to turn it away from you. And then the only time you really want to, if you're wearing eye protection, the only time you want to take it off is when you're completely done, whenever the hazard's not there anymore. So after you're done and you've turned off your tools, then you can remove your eyewear. And then just a reminder here, outdated or scratched prescription lenses, those can distort your vision, so make sure you get those corrected. You don't want to have glasses with scratches on them. Some more tips, just replace your cracked, pitted, or damaged goggles or glasses. Concentrate on the task at hand when you're using power tools. Just kind of have that situational awareness that we always need whenever we're dealing with anything. Just make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing and that you're protected. And whenever you feel your eyes getting tired, just take a break and stop and relax the eyes. Try and look in a distant area, somewhere that's not so bright, just to kind of get your eyes relaxed. And then you're always wanting to make sure that your protective eyewear is approved for the hazardous environment that you are in. For example, safety glasses in a laboratory that needs safety goggles. You can't wear safety glasses. You actually need goggles in that situation. So just be certain that you are wearing your approved protective eyewear just for the specific hazardous environment that you are in. And then just keep sharp or pointed objects away from the face and eyes. It's just not a good idea to get those anywhere close to your face or eyes. Keep you from getting hurt. Z87. So what Z87 is it the ANSI standard for all glasses, all eye protection glasses that must meet the minimum standards. ANSI is the American National Standards Institute, and it's the International Safety Equipment Association is ISEA. And whenever we're talking about you need your approved lenses, those are going to be marked. And they're going to be marked with Z87. There's going to be a little engraving of Z87 to show that those are approved. The lenses are going to be marked by the manufacturer, but the Z87 will be on all of the other major components of these glasses. There's also going to be some other markings along with Z87. For your eyeglasses, all lenses are going to have the manufacturer's logo. But for small heads, coverage for small heads will have an H, and that'll pertain to rimless designs. And then if they're impact related, they're going to have a plus symbol. That's going to show you that they can handle that impact. Specific lens types that should be marked. Welding, you're going to have a W. UV filters is going to have a U. Visible light filter is going to have an L. IR filter, R, and so on. Like we said in the last slide, Z87 is going to be on all of the other major components outside of just the lens. That lens is going to have the manufacturer's logo. So frames and shield markings for our glasses. All frames will have the manufacturer's logo. Size markings will be in accordance with the ANSI standards. Z80.5 2004 will include the A dimension DBL on the fronts with temple length on the temples, excuse me. And then your impact rated frames, those are going to be marked with Z87 2 plus. Remember, the plus is going to be for impact related. Those are going to be on the front and on one temple. Like we said earlier, the small head tested frames will be marked with the letter H. All detachable side shields are to be marked with Z87 plus if they're impact related. Z87 is going to be on most of your eyewear. Frames for your eyeglasses, spectacles that are impact rated, those need to have the manufacturer's logo, then the standard mark, which is Z87-2, and then the impact mark, which is your plus. And then the impact rated lenses will have the manufacturer's logo, then the impact mark, the plus, and then any other special marks that are indicated by the lens type. But then all frames are going to have the manufacturer's logo. Going on to how to deal with injuries. What happens whenever you hurt your eye? What happens when you get something in your eye? What are we going to do? So if you do get dust, a wood chip, or any other small particulate in your eye, you're going to want to look down and flush it out with eye wash solution. And if eye wash solution is not available, use water. You can also use an emergency eye wash station that you see in that picture over here. What that's going to do is just you'll squeeze that little handle on the hose, and those caps are going to get pushed off of the ends there, and that water is going to be shooting out right at about your eye's width. And so you're going to hold that up to your face. And if a pesticide gets in your eye, just immediately use a portable eye flush dispenser and call for help. And call for help if you need to get to an eye wash station. Something to keep in mind for cleaning your eyes after you've got something in them is you're going to want to flush your eyes with eye wash solution or water for 15 minutes. And you're going to be looking down the entire time that you're doing that, and just keep that water flowing on them for 15 minutes. And while you're cleaning your eyes, flushing your eyes, have someone call for medical attention, depending on the circumstances. And then if relevant, you're going to want to consult the safety data sheet. What that's going to do is give you some first aid instructions, chemical specific first aid instructions for what you've got in your eye. So safety equipment. Showers, eye washes, and drench hoses. If you're in any building on campus that's got laboratories, these are going to be there. Across campus, there are lots of safety showers, eye wash stations, and drench hoses throughout various labs and other locations here on campus. They're great. They're great. Those are going to be great tools to use for you to get there and wash your eyes out. Another thing is that they are inspected annually by EHS. We go out and we have a checklist that we use to check all the components and make sure everything's working to where it would properly flush your eyes if needed. And then another thing is, it's a good practice to make sure eye washes and drench hoses are also inspected weekly. And then just keep that on a tracking sheet and post it next to your eye washes or drench hose stations. And just keep up with that weekly. Just keep checking it, make sure it's all working properly. So since this is an online training and you guys can't ask me any questions, I added a few here at the end. Some common questions that we get. So who pays for eye protection at work? The employer is required to provide safety glasses. These are going to be your safety glasses that are just your plastic, basic safety glasses, but they're not prescription safety glasses. That's something you're going to have to work out with your employer. Your employer is not required to provide prescription safety glasses, but they are required to provide safety glasses. Are eyeglasses considered eye protection? No, they are not. Not unless they are prescription safety glasses. Eyeglasses are not considered an eye protection. Are sunglasses considered eye protection? No. They are not considered eye protection unless they are safety glasses. And they make safety glasses out there that come with UV protection that look just identical to some safety glasses, they make safety glasses that have UV protection that look like sunglasses. So as long as they are approved safety glasses, you can get UV protection ones, and they're just like sunglasses. Here at Oklahoma State Environmental Health and Safety, here are our various programs and services that we offer. If you see anything on here and you have any questions, or ooh, that looks like something I need to get some more information on, feel free to reach out to me. Here's my contact information. And thank you very much for listening to this training, and stay safe out there.